Ah, there we are. Good evening, my dear friends. My name is Nicholas Viselli. I'm the artistic director of Theater Breaking Through Barriers. I apologize for our long delay. We had ghosts in the machine for the first screening. I apologize for the fact that that happened. I am crossing fingers and toes to make sure that that does not happen again. But this is the closing night of such an incredible week of shows. To be clear, I am coming to you live from right here in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. I'm welcoming all of you on behalf of our entire company, our staff, our artists, our board, to our Take Two version of Theater Breaking Through Barriers, third hybrid Playmakers Intensive, HPI3, DRAMAPHEMERA, The Lost Plays. All week, we had this great pleasure of being able to feature 6 plays that we actually presented on May 4th in front of a live studio audience that we had intended to simulcast to all of you at the same time that we were presenting them. We had Ghosts in the Machine that night as well. And because of that, we were not able to stream them. So those plays, technically to you, were lost. But they were not lost because we filmed them and we were able to show one every night this week. So it's been a joy. So I saved the best for last. I'm thrilled that and I don't want to say all of them were great. So best. But this play I love because it is such a beautiful, hopeful, uplifting play, and I'm so excited about it. The play was written by such a wonderful writer, director, actor, musician, mom, friend, etc., etc. Pamela Sabaugh, known Pamela forever, and I'm just so thrilled that to share this beautiful work that she created. The play is called Such Stuff, and it was directed by Joan Burgess, working with us for the first time. Unfortunately, cannot be with us tonight, but she did a stellar job with the actual piece that you're about to see, and an incredible cast. Barbara Marest, Ibaraki, and Nick Walther. So fortunately, we happen to have Aya and Barbara and Pamela here tonight. Could you guys just pop on and say hello really quick? There we are. Hi, Barbara. Standing in the ocean, and Aya have a beautiful bookcase. Pamela. So good to see you
Okay,
guys.
thanks.
Thank you all for being here and for bearing with me and bearing with all of us. It's just so good to see you. We had a really lovely conversation, and we were talking about, I guess, the ephemeral nature of theater, the ephemeral nature of life. But I also wanted to sort of talk about the importance of what we do as artists, and how I was reminded of the quote from Dead Poets Society that when
Excuse me, I'll be back.
your lights, oh no ghosts in the machine, no Pamela, you can't
Exactly.
have the quote in Dead Poet Society when Professor Keating, the Robin Williams character, tells everyone science, medicine, these are all noble professions and necessary to sustain life. But beauty, art, poetry, that's what we live for, and that is the truth. That is absolutely so. You can't say one is less important than the other. We need both in this world. So I tend to think we need more art now than ever before. So I think that's really exciting. And I want to have like conversations with you, and I'm going to start with you first, Barbara, on the backside of this because we're already late. I don't want anyone to miss the play or the I guess it's still a play even though it's been filmed. So I thank you all for being here. I'm going to ask everyone to turn off their cameras so that we can get right into this. And I will tell everyone, unfortunately, with the last video that we were showing, we had it captioned. And unfortunately, there was an issue in where the end was cut off. I don't know why, but I have the video in its entirety. It will not be captioned, but you will get to see it. So let me cue things up and cross my fingers, and we will get things started right away. There we go. All right, dear friends, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy Pamela Sabaugh's Such Stuff.
So I'm Barbara. I have shoulder length, blonde hair, green eyes, very pale skin. I like to keep an Arab history, so we just said I'm very short, but I won't say my size. And I'm wearing all black, and I'm playing Sonia, a patient recovering from open shoulder surgery.
Hi, I'm Nick. Bleach blonde hair, facial hair about 5'8", wearing all black, and I am playing Daniel, a patient recovering from a fractured femur.
I'm Aya, I'm Japanese. I have long black hair and brown eyes, and I'm wearing all black with a big white mask. I'm playing May, a nurse.
Setting: a small shared recovery room in the orthopedic rehab wing of a somewhat run-down hospital. Sonia and Daniel occupy 2 beds and a curtain hangs between them. It is early evening and the room glows with the warm, fading light of the sun. We hear the rhythmic hum of medical equipment. Sonia dozes. Daniel is perched awkwardly on the edge of his bed, nursing a wrapped leg. A hefty, battered volume of the complete works of Shakespeare is nearby.
See, you'll be fine without me. They say you're regaining balance and moving much better.
You still move the same.
What do you mean?
No, I mean, like, your gestures. Like, I can still see you on stage. Like that time in Midsummer as Hermia. I saw this one rehearsal. You turned on the line, and though she be but little, and it was like, bam, lightning in the room.
I think I tripped.
Maybe, but even your trip had better timing than most of the cast.
Oh, that's not fair.
I'm not kidding. You had such a lovely mixture of grace and playfulness. I wish I had been your Lysander. Whatever happened to that guy?
No idea.
Okay, Daniel back into the bed, elevating the leg.
There you go. Is that comfortable?
Yeah. You know, I've got a theory. Recovery wards should come with rehearsal rooms. Like beds on one side, black box theater on the other.
Not very sterile.
Not very boring either.
Boredom is a luxury.
And passion a necessity. Read something with me?
I haven't had Shakespeare in seems like years.
Well, even better. That means you'll read like a human, not a slick actor with interpretations. Just the words, you and me. Come on, just one scene. I'll be whoever. I think you'd make a great, well, Juliet goes without saying. How about Rosalind?
You want me to flirt with you in verse?
Only if you want to win.
Are you still being bothered by those dreams?
To sleep, perchance to dream? No, I'm fine. But you know, maybe this would help.
Told you, I don't do that anymore.
What, read?
Play.
Well, that's no good. I mean, you're an artist, May. You know, back then I was so focused on my career, you know, getting my equity card, networking, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw you. And your work, there was such skill and joy. I mean, I realized what a beautiful craft this is. And yeah, you inspired me.
Thank you.
You can still be on any stage.
This is my stage now. I'm here helping people who need me. And I kind of need a steady paycheck.
But you don't have to completely abandon. I mean, Rosalind also helped people, and I need you. Come, woo me, woo me. For now I'm in a holiday humor, and like enough to consent.
They need this machine down the hall. I'll be back with your nighttime medication.
A patient flirting with his nurse. Now, that's original.
Hey, you're awake. I missed your sunny disposition.
How can I sleep with all this pathetic wooing?
My pardon, neighbor, but I've told you already she's not simply my nurse. May and I go back. We have a connection.
Oh, yes. The exalted community theater by the sea.
It was Shakespeare by the shore, and it was actually a very distinguished repertory playhouse, a precious theatrical tradition all but vanished in this country, and it was by the lake, not the sea.
Whatever. Lake or sea, you're still a shit actor.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that is not fair. You can't just sit there and judge.
Well, I have no choice. I'm a captive audience.
Okay, there's a fine line between being captive and being captivated.
That's just creepy.
I am not bound to please thee with my answers. Besides, you can't judge my chops based on what you're getting in this setting. Unless... Wait, did you see my four-parter on Max? No, of course not. No. Anyway, sorry. I am just trying to remind May that, you know, sometimes the words, they can help. The words can help transport...
It's not about the words. It's about you speaking the words. That's the problem. You're a shit actor because you don't listen. You don't hear a thing she said, let alone all that she's not saying. Did it ever occur to you she may already be playing a part?
That is not fair.
May re-enters. She places a little cup of meds on Daniel's table.
There you go.
May, you remember the Falstaffian bloke who always did those booming hour-long warm-ups? What was that lovely
Not
speech?
right now, Daniel. I have to check in with Miss Bowman.
No, please. It's Sonia.
Ah, yes. My bad. How's the pain, Sonia?
I'm managing.
Maybe time for the ice pack.
Couldn't it be the warm compress?
I know, but you had heat after therapy, so now we need to cycle back to cold.
Fine.
Were you able to sleep last night?
No.
Was it the pain?
No. It was the moon. Kept mocking me.
It was very full last night.
Yes, it was. And bright. I couldn't help but seeing it out there.
I used to love when the moon would shine through my bedroom window. I believed if I slept in that column of silver light, my deepest longings might just come true.
I used to feel very connected to the thing. It brought me comfort. My darkest hours, it would be there, like a friend waking me from across the room. I'm here. I got you. But last night, I saw it for what it really is. A cold, splinter hunk of rock trapped in Earth orbit.
How sweet the moonlight sleeps upon this babe, as the persistent beep of a heart monitor creeps in our ears.
It doesn't even produce its own light. It's a fraud, a trickster magician. Beautiful and utterly indifferent. It doesn't care a thing for me, my inflamed joint, my pain, and... You know, maybe for a fragment of a second, there was a glimmer of recognition. I swear. And then just as quickly, nothing. A dead stare. No, worse. It saw me, here all alone. And it just looked away.
You're not alone, Sonia. I'm here.
But you won't be here tomorrow.
Wait, what?
I'll be getting discharged soon, and the others...
May, what's going on?
Go ahead.
May opens the curtain separating Daniel.
Are you leaving?
I've been transferred to ICU. Tomorrow, float nurse. I've been telling you.
Shit, when?
Tomorrow!
No, I mean, how long? When did you find...
2 days ago. That's when I found out. And I came in here and I said, I've been sent to critical care and you quoted something from the Tempest.
Shit, May, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You were in a lot of pain. It just, I've had no time to... I've done my training, so I thought I'd get more bed surge before, but turns out they need all my hands, so yeah, of course, ready or not, here I come. And the fact that I'm scared shitless doesn't really matter.
Well, no, of course it matters.
No, Danny, it doesn't. They're totally short-staffed. And these patients are... Well, that's it, isn't it? So far, it's been just theory. Day after day, I've had to analyze and assess and look at pictures of diseased organs and tumors and horrible wounds and all that natural shock that flesh is heir to. But these will be real people. Flesh and blood humans and dependent on split-second decisions and... So yeah, you know, I do have to abandon the art, at least while I get my footing, and I will get my footing. I'll be okay. But for now, those patients there, well, there's not going to be much time for Shakespeare.
Then, we should read something now. Something that burns quick and bright.
During the course of the scene, the sun has set. May goes to Sonia's window and closes the blinds. She then crosses that to Daniel and pulls of a chair.
Fear no more the heat of the sun, nor the furious winter's rages. Thou thy worldly task hast done, homeward gone and taking thy wages.
Golden lads and girls all must, as chimney sweepers come to dust.
Fear no more the frown of the crake, thou art past the tyrant's stroke.
Care no more to clothe and eat. To thee the reed is as the oak. The scepter, learning, physic must all follow this and come to dust.
Fear no more the lightning flash,
Nor the all dreaded thunderstone.
fear not slander, censure rash. Thou hast finished joy and moan,
All lovers young, all lovers must.
consigned to thee and come to dust.
Now, that was acting.
End of play.
Wow. We got it all that time, you guys. Oh, really? So wonderful. Come on, please, everyone.
Great job, everyone.
Thank you for that. It's really, it's just so beautiful. Really, really beautiful. I think it made me think of something about that I'll tell you about a little bit later, because I want to talk to Barbara about this. Barbara, first of all, I love the character you played in this. It was I think it was so well written. I mean, that's not who you are, but yet you just were able to play that, play it so beautifully. You could sort of get all of the pain and just the honesty that you have, or whatever. I think that was really beautiful. What is it like? Tell me what this was like to play this.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it is so different than doing it, because I was like, oh, she's a bit mean. She's a lot mean. I want to say right off the bat that I'm a nicer patient than that, But what first I loved the play that Pamela wrote, and I felt it was ethereal and there's a lot of poesy into it. As well as like moments that felt really realistic. But I had help from her, some guidance, because there were some moments, especially the part with the moon, where it felt so abstract. I'm like, how do I connect to that? It's just, and also giving it the right tone, the truth of what needed to be expressed. And she was like, the moon, because she based herself on conversation that we had in the first meeting. So I mentioned that, I have an invisible disability, and I've done some stay at the hospital for some surgery, and what it feels like when you're in that room and you think, and so she told me, it's like the moon could have been your companion, during those other times where you needed like to look at something or to talk to something. And this time it wasn't. This time it let you down, and you feel the loneliness of it. So that was really helpful to get a sense of that character. And what you were talking earlier in the other stream about like connecting with people, having this necessarily communication, even the pseudo feud that she has with Daniel is communicating in a place where you have like silence and you think about things, and it's a way to be alive. And when we had like, I don't think it was first rehearsal, but probably the second one, when we talked with Nick, and we was like, there's some kind of enjoyment with that banter because it's lively, and in a place that is so sterilized and everything is just so formatted, having this life being created between those two characters. And also with Aya's character, in a sense, like Pamela, I think you were the one that gave me this idea that also Sonia used to be an artist, or used to, be in the art, and had to be realistic to pay the bill or whatever. She had to let go of that. So she understands where May is coming from, and they're bonding through that. And she also, even through her, I don't know, demeanor or whatever, she understands people, and she gets that Daniel doesn't listen to anything he doesn't want to hear, so she calls him on that. So from the abstract of the first or second reading to also putting layers of reality in it, I thought this play had so many things to play with. So I'm glad I was part of it.
I did too. Oh my goodness. I think what I find so lovely about it, as Pamela mentioned before, it really is in a love letter to theater and the power of theater in that sense. That you notice that Daniel, even though he clearly has a great crush or a great affection for May, everything for him is always about, read with me and being very involved in Shakespeare and the art, and yet you can see that everybody is sort of in their own little space right now. You're sort of off to the side dealing with what you are dealing with, and May is running in and out, and you could see she's dealing with her own issues. But what brings you all together is the very end. It's the power, the magical power of theater, the words, in this case Shakespeare. But I think that's really beautiful. It's one of those ties that bind us, and I think it's lovely to see that and to experience that. I don't know, Pamela, when you I think that's what you were saying in this. I think that's certainly one of the important things you were saying in this.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I want to hear you talk. I don't want to.
Well, thank you, Barbara, first of all, for your beautiful performance. You too, Aya, and Nick, wherever you are. It would, and for what you said, I mean, yeah. I'm not. What was your question, Nick? I want to make sure I answer what you were saying.
No. I think, just sort of that connection of in this particular case, how the theater, the words, the just sort of is what it sort of draws everyone together, and in this case takes us out of our pain, our heads, our whatever, and brings us to a different place.
Yeah. That thing you were saying, the last time on YouTube, about how so many people these days consider art a frivolous endeavor, and theater, this like is criticized as this old dead art form or whatever. It's so necessary. I actually think it's an actual survival tool for humanity. It's way more than just what that frivolous and even like maybe where Daniel is kind of stuck, and I think he realizes it, but he doesn't know how. That's why he's reaching back into the past, because he's sort of in that slick actor mode himself, and as Sonia points out, you're not really listening to what is going on in the room, and it's Sonia who points out that the craft of a real actor is the ability to listen, not here I am, right? So but I think Daniel has the best of intentions, but it's an elusive and fragile, utterly essential, beautiful thing, creating art, that collaboration, communicating with one another through these forms that by their very nature need to be elevated, they're the language of the soul, and it's not going to be this linear, very cynical thing. And even though Sonia is a bit of a cynic, it is that great banter, and she's a cynic for a reason. She's a survivor, right? She needs to have that kind of edge, but she's still in touch enough to know, and isn't completely giving up. And that's why what's so great, even that they spar, because like you say, at the end, it does bring about that connection, and they all do connect, through the poetry and symboline. And I'm just going to say one more thing, and then please.
Please.
Well, just that after I wrote it, one of my all-time favorites, my musical guru, Brian Eno, put out a book. I haven't read the book yet. It's called something like What Art Does. But I heard an interview of him talking about the book, and he said something to the effect of that we all know that children learn through play. And what he realized is that what art is the adults, we as adults, it's our ability to play so that we can continue to learn. So children learn about life through play. We all know that, right? The kids play and pretend, and that's how they learn. And as adults, we lose that sense of play, as it is as the right of nature growing up. But that art gets us back in touch with that very, very important bit of human survival. So it's absolutely essential. And like you were saying before, Nick, in the last talk back, that we learn that connection, coming together in theater. And he was saying it's like a flight simulator, or, you, again, through play, you're learning. You can go to different places. You can learn about different people. You can experience a marriage, utterly falling apart without having to have your own marriage, falling apart. It's that ability to simulate, go into that experience, have that catharsis, and learn ways to cope, because man, it's tough out there. Sonia knows that, right?
Yeah.
May knows it, and that's why she wants to heal. And Daniel, needs healing.
But it's true. I agree. I think that's absolutely it. I think, you always have to sort of go back to childhood in a sense. It's that idea of I had an acting teacher that always talked about how when you're a child, everything is new to you, and everything you explore everything with great interest and curiosity, and then and then it's just sort of an instinct. As you learn things, you tend to make closures on them. Like, all right, now I don't have to explore this anymore. I know what this is. It's done. That's done. And when you and we just become we habitually close doors, whereas as artists, you always have to try to reopen those doors and just be able to take that in all the time. And it's sort of, there's a vulnerability in being able to do that.
Definitely.
But it's necessary in a sense that you now become, as an artist, a vehicle that things happen through you. Okay. Connections are made that maybe even you, the artist, aren't even aware of, but they happen through you. So many times people will see a performance or see a concert and hear someone in concert, and they'll all take away something else that's a little bit different. It's all very subjective to them, but yet it's sort of like this stream that's coming through the artist that connects with people in ways that it's kind of, you can't explain it. It's an intangible. It can't be explained. I think it's really incredible. So I'm very curious, and I don't want to pry. I'm just curious. You mentioned that in our last session about how you had an experience that sort of changed you. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I don't want to get too personal, but I just am wondering if you can give us. Mhm.
Sure. So like when I was a teenager, like I was having some sort of like struggles, like mental struggle. I kind of encountered some sort of like bullying in middle school, and then during high school I was still trying to recover from that, and I was having a hard time like connecting with people and like trusting people and let them in, I guess. So I wonder if I had some sort of depression. I'm not sure, but I was having a hard time. And then I saw Les Mis in Japan, in my hometown. And that 3 hours like totally changed my life. Like after that show, I was like, I was a different person. And I just like experienced this like healing firsthand. So from that moment on, I was like, I'm going to pursue acting because I want to do this to other people because other people need it. And also like the tickets for the theater back then in Japan, it was very, very expensive. And I started to think like this should be available to other people because it's so expensive. And, so like, yeah, I think I got a little off track, but I think that was the experience of like I wanted to share this beautiful art with other people and like make it more accessible. And I just wanted to do what they, did to me when I was like 17 or something. Yeah.
It's beautiful. No, I think that's beautiful, and I absolutely love Les Mis. I know that a lot of times it gets sort of, because it was such a big hit, and of course it was just at the Kennedy Center. Not that I want to get into that, but it is such a beautiful. The story is it's such a beautiful story. And it really is this story of someone who has been so beaten down by life, the main character beaten down by life, and to a point where he has every right in the world to be so bitter and angry, and yet he gets this chance and it changes him, and then he makes it his mission in life. And I want to help everybody else. I want to change. I want to help people now, which I think is it's such a beautiful story. It sort of encapsulates, I think, what we're all talking about here tonight.
Yeah, I done play in England last year.
Mhm.
And after the second scene, it had a 45-minute second issue.
It happens there too.
Yeah, so
Well, when the revolve doesn't work, sometimes that's usually what happens. Like, because the stages are revolve, right? And sometimes the revolve breaks, and if the revolve breaks, well, then come on, that's you know, get out your guitars and But yeah, it's such a beautiful play. I'm very much. I think that in this piece, Nick does a wonderful job too. There's something about I just love Nick Walther. I think Nick Walther is uh, he's such an interesting character, an interesting person, and he plays so many wonderful characters. But this sort of uh, guy that is in many ways an idealist, also the flirting the whole bit, and the being the actor guy. He just played that so well, I thought. But
Yeah, and I, have worked with Nick, on several occasions, and it's so true. He's a wonderful, character actor. He plays a lot of different characters. I've never had him, and I just secretly wanted to, and it had something to do with our conversation. I just wanted him to play like the romantic lead, which I never see him do, right? And he was great, and he just brought all of his his nickness to it, which was just fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was great. And I'm sorry Abby couldn't be here tonight, because I know that she was sort of saying, should we do this as just a regular reading? I love the fact that it was that she that it was staged. It was a nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was the joy of being able to do it live. So, since we had that, since we were lucky enough to do the live, I'm glad we did some staging.
And I also, not a half bad idea. I'm sorry, I know that it sounds a little far-fetched, but to have half hospital, half theater. I think that's great. I think there's something about that there's a healing power of theater. There were two movies I saw last year that were my favorite movies of the year. I might have talked to you about them. The first one was the movie Sing Sing, which I really loved. If you get a chance to see it, you must see it, because it's really a true story. I mean, that's true. That's a story about a theater program that was started at Sing Sing prison to sort of get for some of the inmates to be able to get involved. And by getting involved in theater and actually getting a chance to express themselves on stage, it changed them.
Mm-hmm.
And you had these guys that were like convicted of like real like murder and all kinds of crazy stuff, that when they were finally able to perform on stage, it was like a transformation for them. And
Mm-hmm.
that program has like this success rate that of all the inmates that go through that program, I think it's only maybe like 2% that ever return to jail afterwards. Like when they're released, they're just there's something that's they're freed. It frees them.
Yeah, Nick, we talk about this movie because I've seen it. We didn't, you like the other one, and I think I know the example you're going to give. You were like, I've seen this one, so I saw it after. But this one, I've seen it before we talked about it. And to link it to the play where we were talking about like communication and finding your humanity, it's not word by word, but there's a scene in that film where one of the inmates said, "This is the place, that moment when we do this, when I feel human again."
Yeah.
I have to wear such a shield outside in that prison because it's so dangerous, and you have to be careful. And so I'm in that box, that protection, but here I'm showing that I'm human again. And when we had that conversation earlier about the play and finding your humanity through those words, and exchanging a moment. I was thinking about that film and about that scene in the movie. So that's interesting you mentioned it.
Because I think it just connects so much to this work. It very much it does talk about that. How this Shakespeare had the thing that made Shakespeare so timeless is a wonderful writer, incredible verse. Basically took stories that were already, he didn't create the stories were already created. He just did his spin on them. He told them the way he tells them. But he had such a great sense of humanity and the human condition, and he was able to really create by using those words characters that are identifiable and relatable throughout time. They are timeless, and that's
it's the characters plus the poetry, and that all of this human experience is given language through which we can express these myriad of living life experiences and emotions. That's what I think makes him.
Yeah.
It's not just the plot. It's not just the synopsis. It's the poetry and the just, humanity in all of its, just down gritty, the exalted language, and just the grit of humanity.
Yep. The other movie is Ghostlight.
Oh,
If you get a
okay.
chance to see that, it was a small movie. It should have gotten more play, but it was a small little indie film. But this is the power, the healing power of theater, and not surprisingly, the theater that they are doing is Shakespeare.
Ghostlight. What? So it's a play. I mean, it's a movie about putting on a play.
It's a movie about this family. I don't want to give away too much. That the father he works like road construction. He's in a suburb of Chicago, and he's got his wife and his daughter. They've just experienced a family tragedy. You could see the father doesn't talk about it. He just goes to work, but yet it's affecting everything. He's having difficulty coping. Things happen. He has these sudden outbursts, these like anger, and no one can talk to him, and he just won't talk to anybody. And he's one day at work doing road construction, and there's this abandoned, like this old storefront where this community theater is rehearsing a play. One of the actors walks out, and one of the people in the company basically says, "Can you come here?" And he comes in, and they're like, "Can you read? You got to read. Sit down, just read this because we need someone to read it." And and he doesn't know, he's not an actor, and they're reading, of course, they're reading Romeo and Juliet, and he has no idea what it's about. He doesn't know anything about theater, and they essentially pull him in.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
And of course, what happens throughout this is the story, but it really is a beautiful movie. I love the movie so much because it really, to me, it affirms why we do what we do and why it's so important. I often say in grants, we as artists wield a very powerful wand. And we do. Anyone who thinks that what we do is frivolous or a luxury item is mistaken. I think about there was a very famous drama teacher from actually Northwestern University. Her name was Elvina Krause, and her big thing was that theater theater is as important in every community in the world as as a library, as a hospital, as a fire department. It is one of those essential ingredients that must exist in every community, and it should not be something that people do frivolously. It should just be something that they do regularly.
Mm.
Yeah, we should always know that and there's really no substitute to it. You know, theater for actors, theater is our church. That's where we do our best communing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and this again, all of this comes from this work that you all created. That we got to see
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you, guys.
It means so much.
I just wanted to say that this was the best intensive that we had so far. But and I can't wait to see what comes next for us in November.
Thank you, Tucker. I want to thank you for all the work you do. You know, Tucker is I call Tucker the tech guru, but it's true because he handles so much. He handles all of our social media. Every show this week, there were promotion, like there was social media promos for every show. That was all Tucker that did that. Tucker did all of the captioning for every one of these. When we're doing well, I don't know what happened, Tucker, but it's not your fault. I don't know how the ending got cut off of and I apologize because I should have screened it before I showed it, but I just you know, when I sent it to you, I knew what you saw the second time was the actual the video that I made, and when I sent it out, I just assumed that it was all there. I watched the beginning of it and saw the captions and said, okay, this is good. But don't, it's fine. We have it. And when we post the videos online, it will be all captioned and properly corrected, including properly spelling your last name, Barb. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. It's foreign. That's why.
Yeah. Well, it's not foreign. It's just that was just not thinking. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So for all you do, Tucker, for all the work that you do, I don't know where we would be without you. So thank you.
And being a mother, I'm updating my resume today, and I did you remember what year I started in college? It was 2013 when I came for a open audition.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. We
I
were
remember.
together. Anne-Marie, you, Pamela, myself, we were
Yep.
all in the room, Studio
Yep.
City, Art New York, and
Yep. 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 I remember it. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, it was great. And we had done a project at the United Nations, and we had a film of it. And I asked Tucker if he would edit through that, which he did, but he was still a student in college at that point.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm. Who would have guessed, Tucker? You would be working with us for like 7 years now. So, and Barbara has been volunteering with us, and has done so much in terms of really helping to clean up the website and make it a little bit more organized and more professional, and it's just been outstanding. I'm just so, and I love the fact that Barbara was in this, and that Anne-Marie got a chance to write, and Steve Asher got a chance to direct, and Sergio, who basically was coming into the office and was an aide to Tucker, who did such a wonderful job, another wonderful actor.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just, I think it's this project allows us to really work with so many wonderful people, and just opens up the door to like so much possibility.
And maybe that I'm be acting.
Well, Tucker,
We will see.
you've mentioned you want to perform, and I think this is a good place for you to get an opportunity to do that, because it would be written for you. So we'll talk about that. And, my only concern is if Tucker performs, who's going to be my tech guru?
I could try to do both.
No, it'll drive you crazy, Tucker. I promise you. If you try to do both, you'll just go nuts. So let's plan and prepare for that. Okay. I'm promise you, I'm not stringing you along. You want to perform. I want to give you the chance. I want you to have that chance. And I think we all do. So I think it's going to happen if that's what you want.
Yeah, I'm what the one for doing is in person then online.
Okay. Well, okay.
Okay.
We'll talk more about that for sure.
Okay.
But again, it's such a joy. We will absolutely do more. And I just want to tell you, I say this all the time. I absolutely adore you. And yeah, I just want to find ways to work together. I think we have a lot of possibilities. I also know that the year ahead, there are a lot of challenges that we're facing. Some of them just what we face every year in terms of, will we have the financial staying power? Will we be able to do the work? I tend to think we have an ability to navigate through that. We'll find a way to make it work. Some of the challenges are the same challenges that every theater, every off-Broadway theater certainly is facing. They made a point of saying that Broadway this year was the most successful year on Broadway to date. That's lovely to think, but it's not real, because they were charging $900 a ticket for some shows, and they were getting that. So lovely that they were able to get that, but that's why suddenly the posture of theater as a luxury item comes into play, because who could really afford that if it's only for people who have that money.
Right. It goes back to I as Les Mis experience and wanting to make it accessible to more people.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you. I have an example of that. Like one of the British American actor that I love was Mark Rylance, who's always great on stage because it's him, I guess. But all of the production I've seen, every night he had theater tickets for either $27 or $32 for about like 50 seats in the theater. Because he was my best friend knew him before I knew him, because she lived in London. He was the artistic director of the Globe for 10 years. And for him, the learning and the fact that it needed to be accessible to any kind of socioeconomic mattered. So because it's him and he has his name, he makes sure that every night there's available ticket, and we're talking about seating ticket. We're not talking about standing at the back of the theater for 30.
Right, right, yeah,
And I would love that people recognize that it's important to do that, not just by chance lottery ticket and maybe you stand, but really having the
right,
opportunity for anybody to
right,
get to see theater and to get to have that experience.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
It's about,
amen.
go on, Pamela, you were saying.
No, I just said amen.
It's
That's
about
all.
talking to producers for that, because in the 90s they made a real a concerted effort to do that because they could see the ticket prices were rising and they were getting to a point where they were becoming unreachable for just everyday people. So that's when they started creating the whole twofer program where you could get like, these coupons, you get 2 tickets for 1. And then there were productions that said, we are going to be doing this production and the most expensive seat in the house will be like $60. Everything, it's going to be $60 or less. And it was a beautiful thought, a beautiful concept. It lasted for about a year or 2, and then it just lost steam because producers kept saying, well, we'll never be able to make our money back if we do it that way. And of course, if you're going to get like A-list Hollywood stars who want to make their Broadway debut and legitimize themselves as actors, with all due respect, I think George Clooney is a fine actor. Robert Downey Jr. is a fine actor. Denzel Washington is an amazing actor, but they're the ones that are going to drive up the prices that, it's going to cost $900. So they're the ones that have to say,
Like Mark, yeah.
you're going to have to charge less. That's the way it goes. They don't need the money.
I tell people I need to go.
All right. I think we all do.
Yeah,
I
it's
extended,
time.
I extended a little longer only because we started late. So my apologies to all of you for that. And my appreciation for you for staying on and to continue talking. Thank you for a great evening at a great play, Pamela and Barbara, Nick, Abby, out there. Hopefully you're having a good evening. And thank all of you for joining us for this incredible week. I hope that you will, if you didn't get to see any of the other shows, go to our website. We're going to have them posted. You can also go to our social media and see all of the shows that we did this week. It's absolutely worth your time to do so. And please keep watching. Stay tuned. Go to our website. You can find out everything that we're up to, and you can share all of that information with your family and your friends. It's more important for us right now that if you liked what you saw, to tell everybody about it. We've been around since 1979, this company, and we're going into our 46th season, and we still are one of New York's best kept secrets. I don't like saying that, but it's true. We just need more people to see who we are and what we do. We've been creating and pioneering so much over our history. So we hope you'll continue to follow us. If you really like what you see, go to our website and click the donate button at the top of our homepage. You can support us that way. Your donation is so greatly appreciated. We consider you a partner in art, and that means a whole lot to us. We take it very seriously. So again, thank you for being with us. We hope that you will stay tuned and you'll come and see us live when we start our season again in a couple of months. Have a wonderful evening, all of you, and thanks again for joining us. Good night, all.
Everybody. Night.